It is just a little past 2:30, so we are going to get started. I like how the Crazy Go Nuts are very serious people, as you should be. Very cool. And just to touch on what some people were saying. So Sandra was saying that they currently use inFlow at one location, but are working on expanding it to other departments in our Texas campus. Very cool. And we also have Soheil, an accountant at Eddie Home Inc. Very cool. So in today's webinar, we are going to be talking about how to work smarter together and our top tips to developing an efficient team and a lot of tips and tricks that some of you might not know, some of you might know, and hopefully the goal is everyone learns something today. And obviously, we'll be here to answer any of your questions.
So some of you have already been introducing yourselves. That's perfect. If you can just let us know a bit about your business, where you're coming from, that'll help us as we go through and try to make sure it's relevant to everybody who's here today. And while you're doing that, I think do we have any more intros that just came in? We've got Soheil, he's an accountant at Eddie Home. We've got Steve, they use inFlow to distribute point of sale equipment and promotional merchandise. They're not selling any products in inFlow, but they distribute them to retailers and lottery players via sales reps.
Sue, when you say it's all fuzzy here in Delaware, do you mean the weather or do you mean our voices?
Uh-oh.
Let us know if it's sounding a little fuzzy. You might just have to refresh the page. But most people, I think, are hearing us loud and clear. So maybe just hop on another computer or even your phone. Hopefully, I think you're referring to the weather. It's kind of fuzzy outside here, outside of Toronto. So I'm hoping that's what you mean.
Okay, so while we've got a couple introductions coming in, we're going to introduce ourselves here as well. So I'm Cassandra, and my very first job was actually on a receiving dock, unloading and then counting the inventory, basically keeping track of what we received versus what we ordered, if anything was broken. So I sort of have some familiarity with the inventory from that perspective. And then after that, I taught Word and Excel classes before this current job. So basically, I'm here to help. If you have any Excel imports you want to do into inFlow, let me know. I'll help you out with that. Prior to my current role, which is customer success, so I'm here to make sure that you're getting everything you need out of inFlow. If you have any complaints or any changes you'd like to see, or you need help with anything, I want to hear from you for sure. And prior to that, I was on the support team where I solved over 12,000 tickets. So I've talked to a lot of customers, and I'd love to talk to you, and I'd love to hear about how we can help you out with inFlow.
That's mind-blowing to me, by the way. I just noticed that today. 12,000 tickets. That's awesome.
Oh, and fun fact. So when we do these webinars, Matt generally shares pictures of his adorable little child, and I don't have a kid. So I have these weird and wonderful pictures of my dog, Calypso, from a project I did with a friend who's a photographer. So you'll get to have one random dog photo throughout the presentation and one random baby photo. So it's dogs versus babies.
Yeah. I think they're called furry babies, right? I think they're still babies. They still count as babies. Sue loves the dog photo shoots. Yeah. And a little bit about me. My name's Matt, and I actually worked a little bit in inventory as well too. I worked with a pharmaceutical distribution company here in Canada. I was on the marketing side of things, but with any small company, you pretty much wear every single hat. So there were a lot of times I was inside the warehouse, I was receiving, I was picking, I was packing, and we sold product throughout Canada, also in the US as well too. So I had some experience with importing and a whole bunch of inventory related things as well too. I also wrote a cool book called Barcode Your Small Business. Happy to give you guys a copy for free. I think it sells on Amazon still for like $2-3 as an ebook. Just let me know if you want the free PDF version. I can send it to you. And just some fun things. I've been quoted in Forbes, Small Biz Trends, Inc. magazine, entrepreneur.com, all of those fun places as well too. And I've been with inFlow for over 6 years now. So it's an awesome company, and I really do like what we're doing and how we're helping small businesses. And of course, I have to share my little baby pictures. This is when Ethan was first born. He's not that little anymore. He's much bigger now, so he's just a year and like 3 or 4 months or so. Once they become over a year, it's hard to keep track of the months. But yeah, like Cassandra mentioned, there might be a random baby photo throughout the presentation just to make sure you guys are still paying attention. And because, hey, why not? It's fun, right? And just through that, we got some other introductions as well too.
So we've got Zach. He also works at Anyhome, but he's in marketing and sales. So they've got a couple different people using inFlow. We've got Sarah from Harvest Engineering. They build electrical panels for the agriculture industry and use inFlow to keep track of all the parts as well as POs.
And I see Greg from Ashley Black, an e-commerce beauty tool company with over 500,000 units and 100 SKUs, and the solution works great for you. Hey, that's awesome. I'll take that as a testimonial. That's pretty cool. Thank you so much, Greg.
We've got Kylie from Farmer's Edge. They're a global precision agriculture company. They don't sell products, but they're tracking all their POs and inventory movement between all of their locations. Got Connie, who's also with Ohio Lottery. Fran is from LED Linear Clement as well. Nicole is also from Anyhome and as a financial analyst. We've got a landscape company, Steve, joining. Sue likes the dog photo shoots, I think. Chris wants the free PDF for sure, so I will definitely email. I'll send an email out to everybody who came today, and I can offer you the ebook. I'll send the link, and I'll send any other links or anything else we talk about today. I'll just send everything to you guys afterwards.
However, we have, I think that's the nuts guy. He says, free book sounds good. More dog pics sound better. How about the baby pics, right? I think the dog's winning so far.
Dogs are winning over babies so far.
Cool.
Perfect. Okay, great.
So let's dive right into it. So like we mentioned, we're going to be sharing the top 5 tips for using inFlow Cloud for some better efficiency with your team. So I think Cassandra's going to get started with getting everyone on the same page.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're going to talk about getting everyone on the same system. It sounds like some of you already have multiple people in different roles that are using inFlow, so that's awesome. So basically, if you have everybody on the same page, you can cut down a lot on duplicate entries. Sometimes I talk to customers where they have a separate PO system and a separate invoicing system. And if you can get everything in the same system talking to each other, it's just a lot easier. You don't have to do double entry on things. And a cool stat that I like to bring up is that 49% of businesses that are using software to write their orders can get the sales orders into their back office or their warehouse in less than an hour, versus 17% of businesses that are doing it manually can get it to the back in an hour. So that means basically when your sales are done to your customers, your warehousing can get right on picking and packing and shipping those orders. A lot more businesses can accomplish that if they're on software. So if you have part of your company on inFlow, but not all of it, like if you don't have your warehousing, you can maybe make some things a lot more efficient by getting more of your team into inFlow. So we're going to go through a couple different roles and sort of some things that inFlow can help people in those roles do. So first of all, if we have buyers that are responsible for buying the inventory, with inFlow on the dashboard, they can see what sells best really quickly, and they can also pull reports on that. But if you go to the dashboard, which opens in a second tab right when you open inFlow, at the bottom right corner, it has a little list you can toggle to see different things. And one of the things you can see is your top 5 products with the highest quantity sold. So you can see things you sell the most of really easily. So you get a sense of what sells best. You can also see easily what needs to be reordered. So again, with the dashboard, it'll show you the number of products you need to reorder right away when you open it up. So I recommend checking that daily just so you'll see what needs to get ordered. And that'll pull up this reorder stock screen that's on the bottom right here. And basically, it's just going to show you all your items, how many inFlow thinks you're going to have, and how many inFlow suggests that you order. And if you click reorder there, it's going to open a PO for each vendor. So it'll group items that you need from the same vendor together, and it'll have the quantities that you need as well. The other thing you can do is if you're putting in an order for a specific vendor, right from the vendor record in inFlow, you could start by clicking buy and then suggest reordering. And inFlow will just create one PO for that vendor based on everything you typically order from them. So you'll know everything you should be ordering from them in addition to whatever you were thinking of ordering as well. And you can also create an email purchase orders right from inFlow. So your purchasing person can create the purchase order and send it off to the vendor by email straight from inFlow. And then if the vendor replied to the email and your team member has their email address hooked up to inFlow, they're just going to get a reply right back to their inbox. So they'll be able to follow up with the order from there.
And in terms of receiving, so like for example, in the pharmaceutical company, we had a warehouse manager that obviously would receive the items that came in. What you would do to make sure that you receive exactly what you would order is go back into that purchase order, the original purchase order. You can head on over to the Receive tab and actually scan the items in to receive the stock. And what you can do too is make sure that if there's specific areas in the warehouse, you can actually have the items come back into the default sublocations as well too. So some people use sublocations as bin numbers or just smaller locations inside of the warehouse. You can easily do that inside of inFlow. And of course, if you scan your items in and there's something that's not adding up, it'll let you know. In this case, if you want to be honest, you can hit pay for them and let the vendor know that you received more than you paid for. Or for example, if you're short shipped, you can also print out a receiving memo, I believe it is, and let the vendor know that you were short shipped and you're still missing, and there's still some items pending on the order as well too.
And then for picking and packing, so once you get a sales order from there, if you click print, one of the options you'll have to print off is a pick list, so that your pick list will have, if you're using sublocations, it'd have the sublocations so your pickers will know where to go in the warehouse to pick those things. And then they could also scan or enter the items to show they've been picked. So in inFlow, you can either do a one-click fulfillment to say this order has been taken care of, or you can track along the way the stages of the order. So if you show all these things have been picked, inFlow would recognize that and have a little symbol to indicate that. And then later, if you ship it, you can update it again to show that it's been shipped. And then another thing you can do is print box content lists and labels. So if you're packing something, you want to include a packing slip or a box content list, you can add that in as well and print that straight from inFlow, and it'll be based on the sales order.
And in terms of sales, right? Everyone loves sales. And if, for example, you have salespeople, they can easily check into what inventory is available while they're on the road. But it also works like even if you don't have salespeople and say you're out and about or out in a boot, if you're Canadian, and say for example someone gives you a call. Like we got this all the time with the pharma company where we get calls and they'd ask like, oh, is this in stock? So you can easily load up your phone or any web browser and be able to check right away what items are on stock, either if you're on the road or out to lunch. It doesn't matter. You have that information available at your fingertips.
Yep, so we've got the Android app pictured on the left there, and then the web app is on the right. So you'd be able to access the web app from a tablet. You could access it from a phone, but it would be pretty scrunched. So you can zoom in, but it's not optimized for that.
And a handy report that you can look at as well too. A lot of times, say if you're visiting a customer and they'll be like, well, hey, what did we order last time, right? You can pull up the customer purchase history report and you get a breakdown of everything that was ordered.
Chris says, we do not say a boot. Common misconception. I agree, Chris.
I agree too. I'm just playing on, hey, we're Canadian as well. I've never said a boot. I do say a quite a bit though. I have to admit that. I do say a. Like we're beating the Americans in the Olympics in number of medals, eh? right? Huh? So also what you can do with email quotes, you can email quotes and invoices. And what happens is if you have multiple people using inFlow, their email account will be tied to their inFlow account. So for example, if I'm a salesperson, I send out a sales quote, somebody replies to that sales quote, it goes directly into my inbox. You don't have to necessarily triage a joint inbox, which can get a little messy as well. And of course, I hope you guys have seen Showroom. Let me know in the comments if you guys have heard about Showroom, know what it is, because it's something that we released relatively new, and it's pretty cool. You can actually create a public showroom that anyone can access. So it's almost like an online catalog of your products. But what's also interesting is that you can make showrooms specific to other customers of yours. So if you want to show them specific pricing, specific products, it's super customizable, and you can actually let them, you can make like a custom website in literally a couple seconds without having to do much of anything, really. It takes care of that for you.
And the other cool thing, we'll get into Showroom later. Let us know if you have Showroom. But the other cool thing is you can also do VIP showrooms, like Matt said, with special pricing. And if you're worried about some customers seeing other customer pricing, that wouldn't happen because they actually have to log into their own account to see their specific pricing. So it's pretty cool. So for your billing or accounting people, I know we have a couple here. So you can issue invoices and apply payments in inFlow. If you want to record specific details about payments, you can click on the paid button from the sales order screen, and that'll pop up this payment details box that you're seeing where you can record the payment method. So you could say it was a check, you could put the number of the check, any other remarks about it, and that will show up on reports as well. So you can pull a report on different payments. Oh, it's random baby photo time.
Yeah, so this is Ethan when he was about 7 months or so. We were actually in Poland at a restaurant, and he's there waiting for his pierogies. So that's the random baby photo time.
The other thing your billing or accounting people can do in inFlow, you can apply a batch payment to multiple orders or invoices. So for example, let's say you got a big check from a customer that's to pay for multiple invoices. What you can do is from the customer record, put in the amount that you received, and basically choose which invoices you want it to apply to. You would just check them off, and inFlow will apply payments to those, so you don't have to go back through each invoice to apply the payment. And the other thing you can do is connect with QuickBooks Online. So if you use QuickBooks Online for your accounting, any payments that you do in inFlow can be synced directly to QuickBooks automatically. So what happens is as you apply a payment or do an invoice, it's going to add a journal entry to QuickBooks Online. So anything done in inFlow would get reflected to your QuickBooks Online account. Anything sales specific. The other thing you can do is send customer statements and see overdue balances. So if you specifically say this customer gets 30-day terms, then when you mark the order as invoiced, inFlow will assign a due date of 30 days from when you invoice. And your customer statement will show all the different payments they've done, all the invoices they've had, and how much balance is left, and if there's any that's overdue. And you can email that to customers as well.
Fran Kershaw was asking, when applying a batch payment, how do you sort the docs? They always seem to be hard to sort through. So maybe we could go through that towards the end, or is that a quick?
Yeah, we can. So another thing we can do at the end when we get to our Q&A is I can also pull inFlow up live and do a demo of any features that you would like to see. Cool.
So another tip that you can do, which is one of those little known tips, everyone knows that, well, hopefully you know we have custom fields, so you can add whatever information you want to sales orders and purchase orders. But something interesting you can do is actually assign specific people to the orders as well too. So for example, what you can do on a sales order or a purchase order, you can just add like an assignee field, for example, just call it assignee, as you can see here under sales order. And then basically you can actually include whoever on your staff as the assignee. And what's interesting, you can also filter based on the custom fields as well too. So you could set it up so when someone goes into their inFlow, they can run a filter where they want to see like, hey, these are the sales orders I'm responsible for to pick, or this is the purchase orders I need to approve, something like that. You can do that by filtering them by the custom fields. So that comes in handy if you want to assign different people to different orders.
Okay, so number 3, we have keep sensitive information private. So some concerns people have when they are setting inFlow up and adding multiple team members is that they want to make sure those team members can only do specific things in inFlow. So one thing you can do is set user access rights. They can be set up per team member by the admin. It kind of looks like this. And so basically you can restrict what people can view, what people can edit. So for example, if you just wanted your salespeople to be able to view and edit sales orders, you could uncheck the other options. So they'd only be able to do that. They would get a little message that pops up that says you require admin permissions if it's something that they don't have permission to do.
And the other thing you can do as well too, so tip number 4, you can actually look at the changes that people had made to specific orders, and you can also lock orders as well too, so they're not modified after a certain date. So for example, if you guys have seen the version tab there, you can actually preview the changes made by each team member, and if need be, you can revert back to that as well too. This is one of those hidden things. I mean, you probably have noticed the version button inside of inFlow. Hopefully you've seen it, but a lot of people don't dive into that really, and they're pleasantly surprised when they know that inFlow actually keeps a history of the changes that are made. So just so you know, that's there, and it becomes super useful when you do have multiple people using inFlow, because then you know which account got modified by who. And like I mentioned earlier as well, you can also close orders. So after you set the time frame that's appropriate for your business. And obviously with access rates, you can set admins, and they're able to actually close orders for whatever set period of time. And if you're an admin, obviously you can go in there and still make changes as need be too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically some people mentioned to us that they had concerns about employees editing older orders. So what you can do is you can choose any time frame that you want to close the orders. You can also just leave them completely open, or you can set a year end. So maybe you don't want things to be modified before December 31st or January 1st, or whatever you want to set, you can do that option as well.
Frank was asking, it's a quick question and I don't know the answer to it, but he was asking if you could lock the orders manually.
You can't lock them manually, but if you wanted them locked essentially right away, you can do only admins can modify orders older than 1 day. And I think what that will do is as soon as it's fulfilled, you wouldn't be able to make changes to it unless you're an admin. So if they needed to make a change, they can go and make that change. Fran asked, not by date, but for example, once they're paid. So unfortunately, this is tied to the inventory fulfillment rather than to the payment. So as soon as the inventory goes out, it's going to lock down if you have this feature set up. Okay, we've got number 5, let inFlow autofill some details for you. So this is sort of another thing people might not know about. Oh, we have random dog photo time. So this is from the same photo shoots that we did of the calendar of her. And I think she's particularly happy right now because she managed to get a lick of some icing that she wasn't supposed to. It was for show only. So one thing you can have inFlow autofill for you is your sales rep field. So in your personal settings, every team member will have that on the left-hand side where they can set a default location, a default sales rep. So if my login has the default sales rep of Cassandra, every new order I make, it's just going to automatically fill in the sales rep of Cassandra. So I won't have to remember. It's just going to happen for me automatically. And then any reports you do, well, obviously it's going to show me as the sales rep for those. And then the other thing is the default location. So if you have multiple locations, but one particular employee typically works at, warehouse A or retail store A, you can make sure that that person's settings are set up so that they work at that location. It's their default. So any orders that they either pick or receive, it's going to be associating with their default location. And that's important because if you forget that, you could end up with inventory inaccuracy if it gets received to the wrong location in inFlow. And then we also just wanted to go over something new for you guys. So we mentioned earlier the online showrooms. How many people are already using online showrooms? Just let us know in the chat there.
We had Sue and Sandra mentioning that they were testing out showrooms as well too. Is there anyone else out there using it? Or even more importantly, if you have no idea what it is, I'd love to know that as well too. Lisa mentioned that she's brand new to the system, doesn't know much about it, and that's perfect.
Okay, Chase said not yet, but we're very interested. So helps if they've started. So if you get started with it and you do have some feedback about it, what works for you, what doesn't work, we want to hear that as well, so that we can tweak it to make it work.
Malik has no idea what it is, which is perfect.
Yeah, that's fine too. So yeah, so I'm going to tell you a bit about it now. Essentially, it's like an online catalog of all your products, as many as you want to include anyway. You can choose whether you want all of them, certain ones. You can make it public, so you can have a public showroom that with a link you can send to anyone. They don't have to log in to get access if it's the public showroom. And essentially, it looks like that picture on the right-hand side. It's going to have, if you have a picture of your products, it's going to have that if you choose, description of your product, price if you choose, and you choose basically everything. So you choose what you do or don't want to include. It can have your stock levels, which would be pulling dynamically right from inFlow. You can choose, again, whether you want to show your stock levels, not at all, or whether you just want to show it's in stock, but not the levels specifically. And with those special VIP showrooms, basically you'd invite a specific person, you'd put their email in, inFlow will send them an email. They'll create a password and log in. So they wouldn't see anything on anyone else's showroom. They just log in and see their own specific price list, products that they might be interested in that you picked specifically for them. So for the public showroom, you basically have a little contact info page you can set up. You can set up which products you want, which price you want to show, whether you want to show stock levels, whether you want to show pictures, and then you just get a link that you can send to anyone. And then the VIP access one, you do the same kind of thing. You set all of the settings up that you want for it, and you email a specific customer with it, and then they'll log in with their own password. And it's basically just a custom website in a click that dynamically pulls from inFlow. So if you were to update your prices in inFlow, they'd be updated here. If your stock levels changed, they'd be updated here as well. So it's pretty cool. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. And Matt, we're getting into our webinar offer. Yeah,
so like we mentioned, we do have an offer for you guys for spending some time on a lovely Friday or a rainy Friday if you're in Toronto. So what we're offering you guys today, if you did add a team member to your account, or you upgrade your billing from monthly to annually, we'll give you one of our awesome free barcode scanners, which sells for $80 US. We'll include obviously shipping to you as well too. So all you'd have to do is add a team member or switch from monthly to annual. And why would you want a team member? Well, a lot of the reasons why we outlined in the webinar today as well too. You can become more efficient. There's a lot more things you can do once you have more people on your team using inFlow Cloud. Why would you want to upgrade billing from monthly to annual? Well, for one thing, you actually save some money. And on the next part as well too, it's less accounting, right? Like there's less paperwork that you have to do on the monthly bill. So you do save $120 if you're on an essentials plan and $240 on the advanced plan. And so to invite your team, so if you wanted to add another person, all you would have to do is go to manage my account, and then there's an invite button right under the team members. Just hit that, enter their email, boom, you're good to go. That's really as easy as it is. And if you wanted to change your billing to annual, all you'd have to do is go into, again, manage my account. Under the team members, you'll see my subscription. Just hit that change button, and you can. Home is where the dog is. I think that's business. Yeah. Cassandra's company was called Home is where the dog is. So I'm looking at that. I was like, wait a minute, that's not a standard info thing. But yeah, you just change under billed annually, or yours might say billed monthly. You switch it, you hit change, and that's it. You're good to go. It'll unlock that for you. Also, like we mentioned, we're doing a giveaway for the barcode scanner as well too, and prize pack. I think that includes some swag as well. So there might be some t-shirts in there. There might be some inFlow glasses, yeah, and some battery power packs as well too. So to do that giveaway, what I'd love to see is if you guys ask a question, I will put you into a draw. So right now, like a question about inFlow. So right now I have Fran, Chris, Malik, Chase. I have Office, which I think is the walnut. Crazy Go Nuts guy, very serious guy. And we have Nancy and Lori. So if you guys ask a question, I will put you guys into a draw, and then I will pick one of you at random once we have all the questions in. So we'll do that, but otherwise you can get the free scanner again just by switching to annual billing, which you know if you're loving inFlow, you probably should be doing that anyway. Save some money, or just add a team member as well too.
Okay, so I've got some questions already, but feel free to send some more questions through the chat. If you flag them as a question, we'll know. If there's any features you wanted to see demoed, I can pull inFlow up as well and go through anything. I'd also love to hear feedback if there's things that you're loving about inFlow that are crucial to you and that's awesome. We want to hear it. If there's things that are not so great or things you really need or things that would make your life a lot easier, we want to hear those as well. So definitely we're looking for feedback, questions, demo requests if there's anything you wanted to see demoed, and I'm going to hop into the questions we already have here as well. So let me see.
We have a lot of questions coming in after everyone wants a scanner. So everyone's like, I got questions for you.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom of my list. So we have Lori. There are 5 of us that use inFlow. However, we only use it for sales and shipping. We've thought about using it for inventory, but unsure if it would work because we have both finished products as well as parts for manufacturing. Okay, so Lori, so what we recommend is if you have parts and then also finished products, we recommend you do have both of those in inFlow. And what you can actually do is create a bill of materials of all the parts that are needed to make a finished product. And I can show you even how that looks. So I've got inFlow up. Can you guys see inFlow on my screen now? Yeah. All right. So basically for finished products, what we recommend is that you create a bill of materials that's all the parts that makes that finished product. And then what inFlow can actually do is a work order, which would subtract those parts and create the finished product. So by doing the work order, it's going to pick all of the parts out of inventory and put away the finished product, which you can then sell that finished manufactured product. So it's going to pick the parts and put away the finished product. So I can definitely talk to you more about that, Lori, afterwards as well. If anyone wants to reach out to me directly after the webinar, feel free to email me at success@inflowinventory.com, and I can help you out with any other questions that we don't get a chance to go over today.
And Sue had mentioned I had not received my scanner from Getting Cloud. Sue, let me know. So we don't give a scanner for free if you go for cloud in general, just sometimes when we do giveaways and that sort of thing. But if we promised you a scanner and you haven't received it, do let me know. I'll make sure that you do get it. But just so you know, it doesn't happen by default. It's just more of a promotional thing that we do. But do let me know if we owe you that scanner, and we'll make sure that you get it. Chris was saying we already have a barcode scanner. Hey, Chris, no problem at all. You know what? If you add the member or switch to annual, let us know. We'll come up with something for you as well too. Maybe we'll give you some 2 pairs of sunglasses instead, depending on we'll take care of you. Someone else had asked, how long do you have until to add a member or switch to annual to take advantage of the promotion?
Let's say the end of next week. So by Friday next week.
Cassandra's being very generous and giving you guys a whole week, which is awesome. So yeah, so anytime in the next week, you can add a member or switch to annual, and we will take care of you.
Okay. So Nancy asked, we would like to know how we can set up different levels of access for employees. So I kind of went over that a bit with the user access. So the way you would do it through inFlow to get started, you would go under Options, Account, Team, and that's going to pull up the inFlow Cloud web app, which is where you would be able to go to your team members and edit their access rights. So you can basically uncheck anything that you don't want them to be able to do or to see and save it. And then when they log in, they would be restricted to those things. Okay, so we've got someone's asking about browser functionality. So great question. So yeah, let me pull up inFlow Cloud for web. So as I said earlier, for right now, the majority of your day-to-day tasks are still going to need to be done through the Windows app, but we do have this web app, which right now has the ability to create, edit products. So it's not able to do sales or purchases, but it can create and modify your products or check your stock on the go. So you can see your stock levels. Looks like I've got a problem here. I've got negative inventory. This is my sample database. But basically, you would see your product details. You can add and edit it. And that's what you're currently able to do from the web. We'd love to hear what your priorities are for the web, like if there's specific things you want to be able to do. I think the next thing in development right now is adding customer records to web. But we'd love to hear from you, and then we can also keep you posted when there's changes. I'd email you right away and let you know when those get released. So if there's something you're looking for, definitely let us know.
And Malik was asking if we have an Apple compatible app. So a lot of people actually mentioned about Apple. So what we are working on is making sure the web interface works really well. So you could use it on whatever browser. So even if you're on Mac, you can use it in Safari, for example. Interestingly enough, between you and me here and Cassandra, we are working on a iOS app, but it is kind of in the future. It isn't something that's really.
It's not currently in development, but it's something we're planning.
It's in a plan. So it is something on the docket that we're looking to do, because we do get, like yourself, a lot of requests for it.
Yeah, and definitely keep those coming, even if it's something that we say it's further down the line, because things can always change. And if we're hearing it a lot from people, then that might move it forward more. And it also lets us keep you posted as soon as it comes out, if it's something you've asked for. Yeah,
and that's a really great point, just to reiterate what Cassandra said. Like, a lot of inFlow development is, it's by the community, right? So if we get a lot of requests for a certain thing, we take each and every single request that you guys make. We actually tag it, and when we implement that, you actually get notified as well too when we do it as well. So we take all your requests super seriously, because we want to make sure we're, anything that you need taken care of, we're there to do it for you.
Okay, Chase said, I'm moving from ordering ingredient inventory in QuickBooks to inFlow and want to make the POs look better. Uh-oh. So tell me more about what you'd like to see, Chase. I know there are some options. If you go into inFlow under print settings, you do have some options for customizing how the document looks that's automatically generated by inFlow. And then you also have, you could do a custom document as well. It's a little trickier to work with, but I'm happy to help you if you wanted to look into that. So this is my example. I'm using one of the basic templates, the modern one, but basically I've just gone in and changed the colors, changed the fonts, and I think it ends up looking quite good. And you can always pick one of the other templates as well and then play around with the colors to make them match your branding and font. But let us know if there's something specific you're looking for. And then we'd pass that feedback on to our team as well. I know that we would like to reevaluate the documents at some point too.
And Fran was asking, he asked this a little bit earlier, but it was about the batch payments. How do you sort through the docs so that they're not as hard to sort through?
So essentially what it will do, let me just try to pull up a customer here. Okay, so this customer owes me a lot of money. So what I would do is click collect payment. And then I would put in however much it is that they're paying me right now. So by default, inFlow will select some of the orders that it can pay for, that it's going to pay. Let's say I say, oh, that's okay, I'm going to do that. So what's going to happen is inFlow will actually go ahead and pay all those orders. So if I were to open them, they'd be paid. And then I'd also see payment history for that customer. And if I sort it by date, so I can see that there was a batch payment done. You might also try pulling reports to see specific payment details. So I can follow up with you on that, Fran, afterwards, and we can try to figure something out to get you sorted.
Heather was asking, can Showroom be integrated into a Shopify website? So Showroom can kind of be its own standalone website itself. So it's not something that can be integrated with Shopify. However, Shopify integration is a thing that is in development. Yes. And it's something that should be available in the relative short term as well too. So we do have a Shopify integration coming up.
Yeah, I think I might already have you on the requester list, Heather, but if I don't, definitely email me so I can keep you posted on that. For anyone else looking for Shopify, yeah, so it is something that they're working on right now. The first phase of it would essentially pull any orders that were done through Shopify would get pulled into inFlow as sales orders, so that you can then fulfill them and that inventory will be subtracted from inFlow. But the first phase of it at least wouldn't be updating your website's stock levels. So the more we hear from you that that's something that you want, we can put that in to the product team as well.
And Fran was asking, if we switch to annual, can we still get a prorated credit if somebody leaves and we reduce?
So great question. So it wouldn't happen automatically, but definitely anything like that, reach out to our support team. We can do a calculation to refund you for the chunk of annual that you paid for, but that you won't be able to use. Or if it's a matter of staff turnover, you could always just remove that team member and add the new team member, and the charge would work out the same as well. So either way, but definitely if it's a matter of a refund for part of a year or something, get in touch with our support team and they can help you out with that.
Yeah, we always take care. I mean, if you guys have ever been in touch with our support team or Cassandra, we take care of you. So if there's any issues, we're here to help. So yeah, don't worry about that at all. We will make sure we take care of you.
Sue asked, is there any way to create quotes without putting in inventory? So yeah, the quotes are actually not tied to the inventory. So they're independent. The only time where it'll start to have an impact on the inventory or on the reserved inventory is if it's a sales order. So if you just go into the main menu under sales, new sales quote, you would have to have the products put in there, but you wouldn't necessarily have to have inventory. So it's not going to draw from the inventory or affect the inventory levels in any way. So yeah.
And Sue had a shout out that the support team is awesome. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll let them know.
Chris was asking, would an annual amount change if you change the number of users?
So yeah, so what would happen is if you already paid for the year for, let's say, 2 or 3 users, and then you add a fourth, what would happen is you would get another annual charge, but just for that fourth user. And it would figure it out based on how many months in the year have already passed. So it basically would do a calculation to only charge you for that extra team member for the remaining time left in your year.
And Lisa was asking, can you put notes in the system when you want to make collection calls? So I think what you could do on the sales order is make a sticky note.
You can, you could do sticky notes, or if you wanted to keep it on the customer record so that you know you've called a particular customer, you could do that as well. There's a remarks section on the customer, so that would just sort of be for any notes about that particular customer. Or if it's specific to an order, you could also do a sticky note on an order. And those sticky notes are just at the top there, and you can put whatever you want in there.
So a big delinquent payment in orange there. So yeah, you can decide whether to put it on the customer record or on the specific sales order itself. Lisa was asking, are those notes don't show up if you reprint?
So the sticky notes wouldn't show up on printouts. They're more so meant for your internal staff to just see a note about that order or to see a note about the customer. If you do want the notes to show up on a printout, you would just want to put it in the remarks section at the bottom. Then that way it will show up. And the remarks section is actually unique depending on what tab you're on. So if you put a remark on the sales tab, it'll affect invoices. If you put a remark on the pick tab, it'll affect pick lists. So just know that those are different actually. I
just learned something new. I had no idea. I thought remarks were actually the same for each tab. So that's pretty cool. That's interesting.
Let's see, where are we here?
So Malik was asking, how long do we have to add the new team member and still get a free scanner? So we mentioned until next Friday. So add them ASAP. We have, I don't know your name default, but they asked, do you have any integration to Microsoft Nav? Are you able to do an XML export?
So unfortunately, we do not. The only types of files you're able to export from inFlow are CSVs. So you might be able to convert that outside of inFlow, but from inFlow, you would have to export it as a CSV. And you can export almost everything from inFlow as a CSV. So under general, you'll choose export data. And basically, if you choose customer, it's going to export all of your customers. Same with all of the rest, it's going to do everything. If you just wanted to do a certain time period, so let's say you just want to do your sales from like this month or something like that, what you could do is filter by order date of just this month. And then you can just export those orders specifically. So if you want to keep your accounting or whatever other system it might be updated monthly, daily, weekly, you can do it that way.
Sarah was asking, is there any way to see what build of materials a part is listed in? For example, part A is in BOM 1, 2, and 4.
Well, that is a great request, Sarah. Unfortunately, not right now. I've definitely heard it before. So I'll try to go through the requests afterwards and record those. But if you would also just email me at success@inflowinventory.com, I can make sure your feedback gets recorded and we update you if there's any changes. So for now, you wouldn't be able to see that a specific part is in a bunch of different bill of materials.
And Chase was asking, what's the best way to make purchase orders more customized?
Right, so your options would basically from inside the program are to go into print settings, templates, and essentially adjust the color, adjust the font, choose from the different templates. There's the modern, the classic, and the clean one. If you don't like any of those, you can create a custom document. It's a bit trickier, but if there's something specific that you're looking for, I'd be happy to help you with setting up a custom document. And with that, you can kind of do almost anything you want because you create it yourself in Word and you import it into inFlow. So yeah, Chase, I can go over that more with you later if you'd like. Just reach out to me by email.
And he was asking, like, I want to add item numbers to all of our ingredients. Is there an easy way to do that?
So are they currently in inFlow with a descriptive name and you wanted to change the item name to actually be more of a code? Let me know if that's what you're looking for.
Because he says yes, yeah.
Okay. So there isn't an easy way within inFlow itself, but we might be able to get our developers to help you do some kind of a script. Because I've done that before where we could add it and then swap some fields. We might be able to work some magic for you. So let us know. We'll see if we could do that.
Greg had a helpful or had an interesting suggestion, like making custom fields more robust. So instead of just being like a text input, maybe they could be a drop down, they could be a radio button. That's an interesting request. I definitely do like that.
Yeah, I've heard that one before for sure. You want to make sure you're selecting the right one instead of mistyping something. Yeah, that's a request we've had. I can definitely upload that as well.
Steve, ST, had signed up already for annual. So thank you very much, Steve, because he says it was a great product from the start. Love that testimonial. He was also asking how to control the pop-up window when I enter in products. When getting to the bottom of the list, it becomes hard to enter in the data as the search function is off the bottom of the screen. And I think I know what he's talking about because I've ran into that as well.
Okay, so I think it's like when you have all of the lines are populated with data already and you're near the bottom, then you can't see the search field anymore. Is that the case?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So that's something we can get our development team to look into and see if there's anything we can do for that. I'm not sure off the top of my head for that one.
For production, Nancy was asking for production, do you have to start with a sales order or can we start with a work order?
Awesome question. So yeah, you can actually start either direction. If you do a sales order for a product that you don't have yet, you'd be able to do a work order to make it, or you can pre-build stuff. So you could always do a work order first to build a whole bunch of things, and then as you get orders, you can fulfill your finished product. So you can do it either direction. If you wanted to pre-build stuff before you get an order, you can do that from the homepage. You'd go to work order, put in your finished product that you're making. And so you just click add, you'd put in your finished product, however many you're making. Say I'm making 10 of them. And then inFlow will pull the list of parts that you need for it. So you could pre-build that, put them into inventory, and then sell them later. Or you can sell it before you've built it.
Steve also second voted for the drop down for custom fields. Absolutely.
Cool.
And Helen was asking for the showroom, can you show the stock level in different sub-locations?
That's a great question, Helen. And that's something I've heard before as well. Not yet is the answer. Eventually, we would like to do some work around different locations and some more work on how inFlow handles having inventory in multiple locations, and that is planned. So it wouldn't be possible until we get that work done. And so it is something that we're considering, and I have heard it before. So I imagine eventually, but not right now.
Chase was also asking, what's the best way to keep track of lot numbers efficiently? And the way that we recommend most customers doing that is via sublocations. So you would actually put the lot number as a sublocation, and that usually solves most people's scenarios with lot numbers.
Yeah, so it's not ideal, but basically you would have your sublocation, and that way you can see how many you have that lot number. So when you do a purchase order, you would receive to the sublocation that has the lot number in it. And then when you sell, you would pick from the sublocation, which is going to be your lot number, so that you can add and subtract from that particular lot number.
Steve has a really good question too. Can you delete old stock transfers without affecting inventory levels?
No, unfortunately you can't. So if you did deactivate an old stock transfer, it would basically cancel it out. So it would put the inventory back in the original location and subtract it from wherever you had sent it to. So That's a really good point. A lot of the inventory transactions in inFlow, they're actually like building layers on top of each other. So everything historical, if you were to go back and cancel it, it would actually sort of trickle down into the present inventory. So you don't want to deactivate old transactions.
Karsten also has an interesting question as well too. So he was asking, is there a way to make products only show up? So I'm assuming he manufactures or he puts products together as well too, and he wants only a certain number of products to show up for certain people in his organization. So something that I would suggest maybe for the sales team, you can make a custom showroom and only show certain products to the salespeople via the showroom, and then the sales team can see the inventory levels, the prices, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so yeah, you could do that. If you want them to actually be entering the sales orders in inFlow and it's confusing for them because all kinds of parts are coming up in addition to the finished products, what I would also recommend is just having a custom field where you specify whether it's a finished product or a part. And that way on the sales order, when they do a new sales order, let's just do one quick. When they do a sales order, you can have this show search showing, and basically you would put in, if you had a field for finished part or part, they could put in finished, and then they would only see the items that are finished. So it would filter out all of the parts that aren't finished products. So I probably recommend something like that if you want them to do the sales orders.
So Fran was asking as well too, it'd be really useful to be able to lock the orders after month end because sometimes they get unpaid when people are viewing them. It'd be useful to be able to lock sales orders and purchase orders for, I guess, accounting purposes. So again, he's just reiterating he'd actually, I guess, be able to manually lock orders when he wants to.
Right, or based on the payment instead of on the inventory status. So yeah, that's feedback I can definitely pass on.
And Nancy was asking if her invoices from Zoho can be imported into inFlow. There's not a direct integration, but you can export as long as Zoho lets you export the sales orders as like a CSV or an Excel file, and I believe it does. You can import those into inFlow if you like. I'd also be curious as to why what are the requirements of Zoho that you have to use them for the invoicing? Maybe there's a way or a workaround that you could actually put the invoices directly into inFlow and maybe not have to use Zoho for invoices. Like still keep Zoho obviously for the CRM and the contact management, but maybe you could do the invoices inside of inFlow. So I'm curious about that as well.
And Nancy also asked, can you pull assembly and component numbers on a work order? So you would, when you do the bill of materials, if you add a finished product, it'll add all of the bill of materials, all of the parts. You would be able to print that and it would give you a pick list that has all of the components on it. If you have sub-assemblies, it would also include any sub-assemblies as well. Or you can build sub-assemblies separately and then put them together to do the finished part. So you would be able to print and see a list of all of those parts.
And Steve was asking, can you please, well, since you said please, make the last vendor field mandatory so that the reorder stock function works properly?
Interesting. I can definitely pass that along. I can see why you would want that. So I guess essentially what happens in inFlow is as soon as you've ordered a PO from a vendor, inFlow knows that that's your vendor for that part. But if you haven't put in a PO for that vendor yet, inFlow doesn't know who you should be ordering it from. So yeah, I can definitely pass that feedback along. I can see where you're coming from there.
Nancy mentioned, though, it's not breaking down the sub-assemblies on the bills of materials.
Okay, so that can happen, Nancy, if you do already have the sub-assemblies pre-built and in stock, then it would just list the sub-assembly as an item. But if you don't have the sub-assemblies pre-built, if there's zero stock of them, then it should be breaking down all of the parts.
On the workers. Sorry, on the workers. Oh, no, she's okay. Okay, she's okay. Sorry.
So that might be what is happening because it will handle it differently depending if you have stock of the sub-assemblies.
Fran was asking, can we allow some employees to not, can we allow some employees not to be able to see particular POS though?
Or POs.
Or POs, yeah, I think it's POs.
Let us know more about what you want there, Fran. I've definitely seen requests where people want, for example, they want sales orders, salespeople to only be able to see sales from their location. So they want to restrict it if they have a different branch. They don't want. So if there's something more specific about how you would filter those particular POs, yeah, we want to hear from you and what your feedback is.
He was saying, for instance, then we could pull in our payroll details, but it seems we can only restrict all purchase orders, not particular fields. So I guess maybe he's attributing pay to as a non-vendor cost.
Maybe, okay.
And he doesn't want that to show up.
So is it possibly you're using it for expense tracking then? I see. Okay. Okay, so that might be handled if you could restrict by vendor. Then if you have a payroll vendor, you could restrict employees from that. So that might be how it could be handled. But I can put that feedback into our team as well.
And Nancy was asking with access rights, she understands how to use them, but she wants more options. So Nancy, send us an email on what options you'd like to see with access rights, and we'd be happy to look at that. Mm-hmm. Fran was also asking, we wanted to be able to create custom reports and to see if we can have them written for us or if there's instructions for you to be able to write them themselves. So let us know also maybe in an email, what specific reports you're looking for, because you'd be surprised about how robust the reporting is inside of inFlow with the groupings, the filterings, and that sort of thing. And we might be able to get it for you like that. You can also, for example, export a lot of things to Excel and do up a custom report that way, which is not the most convenient. But yeah, let us know specifically, and we might have a workaround for you.
Yeah. Or it might be a new report that we could add depending on if a lot of people are looking for that. Mm-hmm.
Sandra was asking, is it possible to set up automatic reordering?
So I've heard that asked as well before, but unfortunately you would have to generate the reorders manually. So it's pretty quick to click reorder and then email those, but unfortunately the system can't just automatically email your vendor with those reorders.
And Nancy was also asking, can you customize your packing slips? So yeah, you can a little bit.
So a little bit. You can add some custom fields. You can add some text to them, but it really depends on what you're looking to do, whether or not it's customizable. So let us know a bit more about what you're hoping to do, and we can make some suggestions.
So Fran has his most important question of the afternoon, and he's asking. It's a very specific question about an accounting report.
Okay, so I think it sounds like you might be using a custom field and needs it to be possibly a date range or something like that. So unfortunately for the custom fields, you're not able to do a range or a more specific filtering. So the way you're doing it now by exporting to Excel is probably the best bet.
Did you know he said on the question he ran out of space with a smiley face? Sue was asking, is there a way to make bigger special comments on invoices because we have to use both English and Spanish?
Okay. So unfortunately, the space there is pretty limited. One thing you can do, it might be a case where you should do a custom document, and I can help with that. And basically with a custom document, you can choose to have less line items on each page so that you have more space for your remarks to be in English and Spanish. The other option is if you typically do orders in Spanish or typically do orders in English, you could have a document that is in that primary language, and then you could have a custom document for when you do exceptions. So whether the exception is English or Spanish, you could have a Spanish specific invoice. But if you need both, probably best with a custom document.
Whoops, I lost my spot here.
So I'll ask, is it possible to put total price to calculate unit price in creating PO? I'm not quite sure what you mean there. Let's see.
For a second, I thought we stumped Cassandra, which is very rare.
Okay, so on the purchase order, let's just take a look here. So it should be calculating your total based on all of your unit prices. Or I'm not sure if you're maybe looking to have the total price on each line item. Let me know a bit more about what you're looking for, and we can look into that.
Helen was asking, can a customer create a sales order directly from the showroom? And I absolutely love this question because this was my first reaction as well too when I saw the showroom. So for now, when you send someone a showroom, really the only thing they can do is kind of get in touch with you via email. But it is something that we are working on so that it becomes like more integrated where, customers can place orders directly. And then, hey, it'd be awesome if you could also process payments as well too. So it almost works like an online store completely where they can actually give you money as well. So yeah, absolutely great question, Helen.
Yeah, and make sure that I have your requests for anything you're asking for. Make sure that I have your requests. That way I'll be able to follow up with you when we do add things in the future.
And Lisa wanted to see a walkthrough of the proper way to receive a customer payment.
Sure. So if they are paying specifically, let me just see if I have any unpaid orders. Okay, I'm going to convert my quote to an order. So that's the other thing. If the sale does go through, you can convert the quote to the order. And then essentially you can either just click on paid. Right now it's showing apply credit because I've given this customer credit in the past. But what I can do is click on the paid link here at the bottom. And if I wanted to put more details about the payment, so whether it was cash, check, Visa, whatever the case might be, I can put that in and I can put in the amount. So for example, maybe they only paid a deposit or maybe they paid the full balance. So if they paid just a deposit, I could always put in a partial payment there. So basically the balance will have gone down to reflect the deposit. So it's basically just that. You can even just do mark paid if you don't want to record how it was paid. But if you do record how it was paid, then you have more options in terms of reports. You can go back and try to reconcile cash and things like that.
And Zach was asking and Lisa snuck in another question there. Can you change the date the payment was made?
Yep. So right in that payment details box that pops up, you can just select a different date. So if you don't actually get around to putting the payment in until later, you can backdate it to the day you actually received the payment. Yeah.
So Zach was asking, is there a tutorial out there for creating custom templates? If you go to our support, so inflowinventory.com/support, there is an article on there that kind of walks you through doing it with some sample templates, I believe, as well. Yeah. But it's not, I guess, it's not terrible, but not for the faint of heart either.
Yeah. So just depending on how comfortable you are with Word, especially, and it uses the mail merge feature of Word to basically slot in inFlow fields into the Word document. So I can send you some links afterwards. If you don't hear from me, just email me at success@inflowinventory.com and I'll send you all of the tutorials. There's a couple different ones.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the mail merge stuff, you'll be right at home with it. But for some people, it can get a little troublesome. And that is something that we're, full transparency, we know it's not the easiest. And that's something that we're working on to improve as well. Fran had another really good question, but it wasn't his most important question, so maybe we should skip it. No.
So would it be possible for the search field when entering PO or sales order, could it clear when you go to a new tab as it always carries over? So unfortunately, it can't clear. I can see why it's annoying having to reset it every time. And then there's probably the flip side where some people want it to carry over. So that's a tricky one. But unfortunately, it won't reset. I can pass that feedback along, though, for sure.
Malik wanted to see where you can set up a showroom inside of inFlow.
Yeah, so you'll just go into Options, Settings, and then from Settings, there's an online showroom button at the bottom. And so the main stuff you see here is for your public showroom. So you can choose what products you want to add, what price, if you have multiple pricing schemes. Again, this one's for the public one. You can choose whether to hide stock levels, show whether it's in stock, or show the exact quantity. And then you can choose whether you want description, picture, measurements, remarks on. And basically you just copy that showroom URL, and then you can send that in an email to your customer. And I'll just pull up my example one here. So my sample database looks like this.
Boom.
And then if you wanted to send to a specific person, you would just click invite someone. And then you'd say, are they an inFlow customer already? So basically, if you say yes, inFlow will ask kind of like which one, and you'll just pick your customer record you already have in inFlow, what you want to send to them, and you just do save and send, and they'll get an invite and be prompted to set up a password, and then they'll log in and see their specific showroom.
That's great feedback, though, too. I feel like for such a powerful tool to be hidden away in the settings there, maybe it's not the best place to put it. So yeah, I know that's some feedback that we'll take in as well.
And if you ever want to check a specific product, from the product page, there's a little showroom button as well. And you can click go to showroom or add to default showroom if it's a new product and you want to make sure it gets added in.
Sandra was saying, why isn't this showroom tab showing up on my settings tab after today's update?
I'm not sure. We'll have to look into that with you. I do have the latest update on my computer because I just updated this morning and I have mine. So yeah, we'll have to take a look at that with you, Sandra. It might be a team member specific thing, but yeah, we can take a look.
Okay, and Lisa was asking, can you enter more than one email address for a customer, i.e. sales, email, and accounting email? So on the customer record, can we add multiple emails?
So you can add multiple emails separated by commas, and then what will happen, so it's all going to be in the same email, but basically if you do that and you separate them by commas, then when you choose to email that customer, it'll include all of those that you've put in there. So you can do it that way.
And Sandra was asking, how do you upload inventory from an Excel spreadsheet? So great question. What I typically do, there's a sample spreadsheet that you can download. You just go to our inflowinventory.com/support, search for like inventory upload or something similar to that. And there's an article there that actually can give you an Excel file that uses all the kind of inFlow headers. And then what you do is just pop your inventory into that Excel file, and yeah, you can upload it. There's one template, for example, for products and descriptions, and there's actually a different one for actual inventory numbers. So if you're uploading products that aren't inside of inFlow, use that product one first to upload the actual product details, and then you can upload a template that actually gives you the that will give you the numbers to put into your inventory.
Yep, and I'm happy to help with imports as well. So if you have a spreadsheet, like if you got a spreadsheet from your vendor with some new products and you want to bring them into inFlow, if you even just send me that CSV, I can help you make suggestions or help you get that imported in.
And Sue mentioned that she just received vendor item numbers. Can I export them to inFlow? I think you mean import them to inFlow.
So yeah, you can import them to inFlow. Basically, you would make that, you would do a product details import. If you already have those products in inFlow and you just want to update the vendor part of it, you can make that vendor your last vendor and put their vendor code in. Or if they're new products altogether, you can also just do a product details import to get them in.
Chase was asking, can I use both pounds and kilogram measurements for items, or do I have to choose from one or the other and then convert them?
So you can get creative with the units of measure. So basically there's 3 available. So you could have pounds be one and kilograms be the other one. Standard unit of measure is how the item is going to show up in your inventory. So if you want to see inventory in kilograms or pounds, you pick whichever one that might be. And then you can have the alternate be your sales unit of measure. So for example, if you want it all to mainly show up in pounds, you can do that, and then have sales be in kilograms. And basically what you're going to have to do is tell inFlow what the conversion rate between the two is. And that way, when you go to sell it, you'll actually be able to choose. I'm just going to do a sales order, and I know it's not one-to-one, but basically you would be able to choose if you want to sell in pounds or kilograms. So you would just choose it from the drop-down, adjust it as you need to, and that way it'll convert when it subtracts. So I would suggest that.
And Sue mentioned that she does need help with that, with the receiving vendor item numbers and the imports. Cool. So get in touch.
Problem. Yeah, just email me, Sue, and I'll help you out. And
our last question before the draw, we're going to do the draw after this question, but you can still post questions in as well too. We'll be here to answer all of them. But the last question before the draw, Karsten,
can I limit team members to only see product on one or more warehouse locations? So unfortunately, not right now. That's something that we've got people asking for in the past. So I'll definitely record that and pass that on to our team. And I don't see any other questions. So let us know, squeeze those in. If you have any feedback as well, we'd love to hear any more features that would make your life easier, things you'd hope. We've got some coming in. But thanks everybody who joined us today. We really appreciate it. And we'll be trying to host a webinar about once a quarter. So also if there's any topics that you would like to see, definitely let us know if there's something that would help you out that you want us to do a webinar on.
And I'd love to hear your feedback on this webinar. Fran, you made me laugh with the sad face. But let us know how this webinar was for you, if it was useful. If you got your questions answered, because we'd love to do these on a quarterly basis, maybe even more frequent depending on the interest. And like Cassandra mentioned, if you have any ideas for future webinars as well, too, things that you want, maybe even a webinar on how to do custom documents.
Yeah, we could too. Yeah, let us know what you want.
Because I feel like that's a big one. Mm-hmm. And Roy, if you're just tuning in, missed the first part of the webinar, no problem. There will be a replay that Cassandra will email out to you, so you'll be able to see all the information, so no problem there. But with that, we are going to sign off. Thank you guys for attending. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your Friday and enjoy the weekend. So take care and bye for now, guys. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.